Have you ever looked at a massive python and thought, wow, that's one scary snake? They're huge, powerful, and honestly, a little intimidating, but what if I told you that the biggest, most powerful snake in the jungle is actually one of the few that has no venom? It's true. Unlike cobras or vipers, a python can't poison you with a bite. But according to an ancient legend, it wasn't always this way. Once upon a time, the python was not only the strongest snake, but also the most venomous creature in the entire world. So, what happened? How did this mighty serpent lose its deadly poison? Stick around, because today we're re-diving deep into the forest to uncover the forgotten legend of the python who spat out all its venom. This is a story of power, arrogance, and a lesson learned the hard way. A very, very long time ago, in a forest so dense and ancient that the sunlight barely touched the ground, there lived countless snakes of every shape, size, and color. You had sleek green tree snakes, camouflaged vipers, and majestic king cobras. But towering over all of them, in both size and strength, was the python. In those days, the python was the undisputed king of the serpents, and every creature in the forest, big or small, respected its immense power. But the python's strength wasn't just in its massive, coiling body. Back then, the python possessed the most potent venom known to any living being. A single drop was so lethal that any animal it bit would fall lifeless in an instant. Think about that for a second. The world's strongest snake, also armed with the world's deadliest poison. It was an unstoppable force of nature. With this incredible power, a darkness began to grow in the python's heart. It became arrogant, believing it was better than everyone else. Its respect from other animals turned into fear. The python started to enjoy this fear, using its power not for hunting or defense, but for cruelty. It would slither through the jungle, a shadow of dread, looking for smaller animals to torment. A mischievous monkey, a timid deer, even a tiny field mouse, none were safe. The python would strike them for sport, not to eat, but just to watch them fall. The forest, once a place of vibrant life, became a kingdom of terror, all because of the python's pride and cruelty. The joyful sounds of the jungle were replaced by whispers of caution and the silence of hiding creatures. The python had turned its gift into a curse for everyone else, and it believed its reign of fear would last forever. But it was wrong. Someone or something was watching from high above, from his celestial palace in the heavens. The great Jade Emperor looked down upon the world. His gaze passed over serene mountains and calm oceans, but when he looked at the ancient forest, his brow furrowed with concern. He saw the fear in the eyes of the little rabbits and the sorrow in the hearts of the mother birds whose nests were empty. He saw the python, a creature he had blessed with magnificent strength and a powerful gift, using that gift to spread misery and chaos. The Jade Emperor's heart was filled not with anger, but with a deep sadness. He had given the python this power to help it survive, to be a respected leader, not a terrifying bully. He saw that the python's arrogance was poisoning the entire forest, creating an imbalance in the natural world. He knew he had to intervene. It was time to teach the mighty python a lesson it would never forget. So, with a single thought, he summoned the proud serpent to his celestial court. Suddenly, the python found itself lifted from the forest floor, swirling through clouds and light until it was kneeling before the magnificent throne of the Jade Emperor. The air in the celestial palace was heavy with authority, and for the first time in a very long time, the python felt a sense of fear. The Jade Emperor's voice echoed like thunder, but it was calm and stern. "Python," he said, his eyes filled with disappointment. "I gave you a great gift. I made you the strongest of all snakes and gave you a venom that could protect you from any threat. But you have abused this gift. You have used your power to harm the weak and spread fear. You have become a tyrant in the world I created." The python trembled. All its pride and arrogance vanished in the presence of this divine power. It wanted to speak, to defend itself, but it knew that everything the Jade Emperor said was true. It had let its power corrupt it completely. The python lowered its head to the ground, its massive body coiling in submission. "Oh, great Jade Emperor," it hissed, its voice filled with a panic it hadn't felt in centuries. "Please forgive me. I was foolish. I was proud. I see the error of my ways. I promise I will change. I will never harm another creature needlessly again. Please do not take my power from me." The python begged and pleaded, hoping for a second chance. But the Jade Emperor shook his head slowly. The damage had been done, and a lesson needed to be taught not just for the python, but for all of creation. Forgiveness is earned through action, not words, the Jade Emperor declared. "You have proven you cannot be trusted with this deadly weapon. From this day forward, I am taking away your venom. You will have to rely on your strength alone to survive. This will teach you humility and respect for life." The Jade Emperor's decree was final. He pointed a finger at the terrified snake and commanded, "Open your mouth, python. Spit out every last drop of venom you possess. Let it be gone from you forever." The python had no choice but to obey. It opened its jaws wide, and a thick, dark liquid began to pour out. It wasn't just a few drops. It was a river of poison, an ocean of all the venom it had ever held, and all the venom it would ever have. The poison flowed out of the celestial palace, cascading down from the heavens like a black waterfall. It poured down the celestial mountains and back to the mortal world. As the river of venom touched the earth, the vibrant green grass withered and turned black. The rich soil became barren and dark wherever the poison flowed, staining the land as a permanent reminder of the python's past cruelty. The python felt itself weakening, not in strength, but in its deadly essence. A core part of its identity was being ripped away. When the last drop had been spat out, the python lay exhausted and empty. It was still huge, still powerful, but it felt different. The venomous fangs in its mouth were now just ordinary teeth. The deadly poison sacs were gone. The Jade Emperor looked at the humbled snake and said, "Now, return to the forest. Live a new life. Remember that true strength is not in the power to destroy, but in the wisdom to show restraint." And just like that, the python was sent back to its home. The other animals, who had been hiding, cautiously emerged. They expected the same cruel tyrant, but they saw a different snake. The arrogant gleam in the python's eyes was gone, replaced by a quiet, contemplative look. It no longer hissed at them or struck for fun. It moved slowly, peacefully through the undergrowth. From that day on, pythons have been non-venomous. They hunt not with a poisonous bite, but by using their incredible muscular strength to squeeze their prey in a powerful embrace known as constriction. The python learned its lesson. It understood that its great size and power were enough, and that it didn't need a deadly weapon to survive or to be respected. It became a gentler giant of the forest, a symbol of quiet strength rather than loud aggression. And the black, barren soil left behind by its river of venom served as a constant reminder to all creatures of the forest that power without wisdom is destructive, and that even the mightiest can be humbled. The legend tells us that the python's loss was actually its greatest gain, for in losing its venom, it found its soul. So, the next time you see a python, whether in a zoo or on a documentary, remember this story. Remember that this giant, powerful creature is a living testament to the idea that true strength doesn't come from a deadly weapon, but from control, humility, and a respect for the world around you. It's a fantastic story, isn't it? A great reminder that our greatest gifts should be used for good. Thank you so much for joining me on this legendary journey today. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you don't miss our next adventure into the world of myths and legends. See you in the next video.